Hello, 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 hello. So guess what?
Hey,
We're back.
Yes, we're back.
We back, and we have someone with us this time, right?
Yes.
let's get
So
it together over there.
yes, we came
Listen.
back because we brought a special guest. We actually brought the host of Who Runs the World, Girls or Boys, just to get y'all hyped up a little bit and let's chat a little bit about what's coming up on September 19th. Because we want y'all to make sure y'all don't miss it because y'all gonna miss out if you miss it. So we actually
Right.
want to encourage people to come on and still share questions. We're still collecting questions. If you want to be a panelist, let us know.
Mhm.
So let's go. So last time we talked, we got some good questions last time.
Yes, we did.
We did, and we shared a few things last time.
Yeah,
But
we did.
we want y'all to
Y'all share more than a few things.
we want to introduce y'all to well, y'all already know who he is, but we wanted to
Yeah,
have
man.
him join in, and he's gonna share a little bit too about what he's gonna be doing on September 19th. Because I know the first thing he said was y'all can't come being quiet and what you I think what you say still we can't we need energy.
That's
So
right. Hey,
tell him what
last time I
tell him
started
what we need.
doing it, can you hear me? Y'all
Yep,
can hear me okay? The
Yeah.
yep.
last time you guys were on here, I was just scrolling down and I saw y'all having so much fun. So I figured I didn't want to wait till the 19th. I want to jump in on this girl talk and see what's really
I
going
know
on.
Yeah.
Reba the Diva was just really just, in rare form. And
Listen,
I wasn't, yeah, for me, couldn't be.
right.
I have to get my 2 cents in there. I gotta make sure people understand.
She was laying
I
down
know
the
that's
law.
right.
She was
I
laying
got
down the
you.
law last time. She was like, "This is what I'm going to ask." Okay,
Yeah,
are you
yeah.
married
Thank
like now today?
Mhm.
I need
you.
to know. I'm asking for a friend and me, right?
Exactly.
And a cousin, right?
Right. So, what kind of questions? And Dirk, you might have thought about some questions because we want to throw some stuff at them. We don't want them to be all ready. So the questions not going to be easy. But we're
Right.
gonna throw some questions at y'all, like what y'all think. I think we ended like we asked questions about what did we end with, Shariva?
I
Like
know it's Well, I know one of the main questions, like lots of the guys they say, "Well, like, why do you always ask me why? Do I look good in this outfit?" That was one.
right. Do we
Um,
really want to know the
Oh, yeah.
truth?
Yeah, right. I remember that. I remember that one.
Or eating off the plate.
Lisa, you were talking about women asking men how they looked in their clothes, and do they look fat or didn't they look fat? And if the man told them the truth, then they would get upset. That's what I remember you talking about before.
Right, right. So we're like, do y'all really want to know the answer to that? Are we
Yeah.
are we
Mhm.
asking because we want to know or we want y'all to lie? Do we really
exactly.
want you to lie? So
Sometimes y'all just need to lie. So I'm playing.
well, I mean, it might depend on how you feel, and you
You
might want
don't want your feelings to be hurt, especially before an event. You be like, "Dang, he told my outfit was ugly,
to.
man."
Hey, look, but that's why even when somebody asks you advice, you have to be very tasteful about how you approach it with the way in which you deliver that information. Because even though they say they want the truth, some people can't handle the full truth. Like the movie say, you
Absolutely.
can't handle the truth. So
That's true.
you have to know
Mm-hmm.
your personality. Once you know that
Yep.
personality, if the person is dealing with low self-esteem, if the person is already talking about their weight all the time, and if they ask you, they want an honest answer, but they want to see if in fact you're being really honest with them. When you say,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
"Hey, you look cute, baby. You look sexy," so you have to be mindful at all times that they're always listening and watching for your true response. That kind of
Well, and actually Dana was on and Dana said if you have to ask, then
You
you
already know the
already know.
answer.
thing. I
So I
Exactly.
said,
mean,
well, not all the time. Not
everybody
all.
needs reassurance. Though. Everybody needs reassurance. They want to make sure. Before you go to the party or go to the club, you want to, you checking in with your boots. And hey, baby, how does this look on me? You want them to give you the truth because you don't want them going outside looking set up. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right. Or me looking set up because I'm like, I'm not with him. I'm not with him. I'm just,
yeah. It could be the guy. The guy can have on
right.
mismatched socks or two left shoes. It could be anything.
So we need to ask the guys,
That's true.
do y'all want us to tell y'all when Yeah, that's not working for you. That
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
honest
ain't it.
opinion. Look, I rather my date tell me and give me an honest opinion before I go to the club and look set up and I'm taking pictures or I'm just walking around stunting and all, not realizing that I look jacked up, that kind of thing. So,
That's true. So y'all want to know the truth because sometimes I guess we do. Well, actually, here's the thing. Sometimes we might think we look cute,
Mm-hmm.
cute, but if you ask the right girlfriend, she'd be like, "Nah."
Nah.
I mean, hold on. Hey, look, let's be real about this because you know how it is with ladies sometimes. Ladies, you know your own body, you know how you look in the dress and different things. I've seen a lot of ladies come out there with the wrong dress on. I'm thinking that girl, no goodness well, that doesn't fit her right. But in her mind, she looks cute. I'm just being real with you. I wouldn't say it out loud, but in
Right.
my mind, I'm thinking that's the wrong dress for her. I'm thinking to myself in my mind. So
That
it's
was
real.
nice how you said that though, because for real, you thinking then you know you wrong. You know you
Exactly.
wrong.
Exactly.
No, but if you have a date that says, "Baby, how do I look in this dress?" For me, even if it looked jacked up, I would never say it looked jacked up. I would say, what about that other dress you said you had?
That's
I
the
would.
that's the key thing right there. Yep.
That's good.
But baby,
That's a
I
good
like
one.
the way
Find another
you
way.
right. Go in that black dress that I love that I love to see you in.
Right,
That's
right,
the best
exactly, right.
way to change the stuff.
But you
But
know what,
wait a
baby?
minute.
That black dress you had on last time was sexy.
He just said something up though, because now every time you ask and your partner or your boyfriend or husband say, "Why don't you wear that one?" Immediately now she gonna say, "Oh, so
Right.
you you don't like
No, you be like, baby, don't wear that same dress that you wore the last 5 parties we wore that same black dress.
Mm-hmm.
let's get that one a rest. Let's put that one on the hanger and try another one. Let's do that."
Exactly.
Hey, look,
So what
I would always say you really want an honest answer though.
right. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that's true. So overall we want honesty. We all want to be told the truth. Now the
Right.
question
That's
is,
right.
can you handle the truth?
That's true. That's
Because
true. You're right
sometimes we
about
can't handle the truth, because sometimes we're
that.
like, I like this though.
Right.
But I don't want you
And
looking
it's
at me
not always
sideways.
just the ladies. Yeah, but sometimes it's the guys too. It may not be the ladies always jacked up. Sometimes the
That's
guy may
true.
have on a suit. He think he's still slim. He forgot he got a little beer belly going on or something going on.
Listen,
The button popping off. I mean, you gotta be real with it, right?
especially some of the
He said the
guys,
button
they
popped off. Wait a minute.
they always talk about the women how we get comfortable once we're in a
Yeah,
relationship. I'm like, baby,
yeah.
some of the guys get comfortable too. Like, let's
Well,
not
that's true.
we might not say nothing, but
So that's a
Look on
good
your face.
question, though. That's a good question for September 19th. So why is it different for, when the ladies,
Mhm.
why y'all don't keep yourself together? We need to see what we need to see. And we kind of like, okay, so what you doing? What's
Right,
going on
right.
over there?
That's true.
Exactly.
That's true. I
Yeah,
mean, you
my
gotta be
shirt
honest with
don't
it.
come all the way down. Why your shirt don't come all the way down? That's
Hey,
Especially
look, especially during the COVID-19, because everybody been gaining weight while they've been
yeah.
in isolation,
listen.
right? Quarantine.
All you see are the
So look, some
pictures,
of
and
y'all
the
think
pictures
y'all
be
look
from
cute
like
when you
right
come out
here
of
on up.
quarantine. When you go back to the club, it don't look like it last month. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
Mhm.
COVID, what do they call it? COVID 15. Is it 15? They saying
19.
19 pounds or 15 pounds.
Oh man.
Did y'all gain the COVID 15 or 19 pounds? Yep, found
I
that.
probably did.
Hey, look, it ain't no 15, it's 19. Don't change it, Lisa. Don't try to change it.
We try to slim it down a little bit. Don't give me the whole 19, right?
COVID-19. Simple as that.
Exactly.
So what about the guys? What kind of
That's
questions we want to ask the guys? I know the last time we were on, we asked, we actually mentioned something about like women fixing plates for the guys. Because I
oh
know,
yeah.
maybe sometimes the younger women are like, "Huh, I'm not fixing no plates." Okay.
Right?
And the
Yeah, that's
older,
true.
I'm like, yeah, you fix the plate, and they like, okay, his hands work. What's the problem?
Mhm.
But I would love to know what guys think about that because do they want that? Well, of course it might be some guys that
I
don't
think
want
there's
All right,
that.
some
let
guys
me just
out
say
here
this.
that don't they don't even expect that the girl's going to do it. I'm just like, what is wrong with you? What kind of girls you been dating? Like,
Right.
I mean, but this is what I was going to say. I think it goes back to the whole category of love languages. I think that everybody needs to be loved a particular kind of way. Even when it comes to food and cooking, sometimes it's not always about the food. It's about the expression of how that woman is putting all her love into it and she's preparing it a certain way. Or maybe even the guy's going to do it. It's not always about the ladies. Sometimes the
Right.
man can cook for the lady as well, right? And so, I mean, I've been in a situation before, years ago, I've dated somebody and I'm used to, women who could cook. I mean, I've dated women who could cook most of my life, from my mom, my ex-wife, to girlfriends I've dated over the years. And I met this one young lady and she was like, the food is in the kitchen. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, I was like, okay, I mean, and it threw me off. That was the first day, around family and something. Then another situation, I noticed again, she's like, yeah, the plates are in there. And I'm like, okay. And it's not that it's a big deal. I mean, for me personally, I do enjoy it when a woman cooks for me. I enjoy her putting that love, and I love food. So you
Right.
have to know your man. If your
Right.
guy's into that, if that's his language to speak his language, and the same goes for the ladies. If it's something that she likes you to do, like for me, I would fix my lady's plate. You know what I mean? If my lady, I'm like, hey, you came home from work, go ahead and chill. Let me go ahead and make a nice hot plate for you, and I'll bring it to you. So we both can reciprocate that and do that for one another. I think that's the move.
Well, okay, so last time Sharif actually mentioned, okay, so you go somewhere, say it's a cookout or something, and you get,
Right.
you might be getting ready to go over there and fix the plate, but I don't know what you said her name was, Sharif.
Suki or something. I don't know what I
Yeah,
said.
Shaniqua, somebody then gone over there and fixed his plate while you there. What do you do?
Oh, you mean a different woman, another woman?
Yes, what do you
Oh,
do?
no, listen. Hey, look, that's real because the same girl that didn't want to fix my plate, she had a cousin over there checking me out, like, oh, I'll fix his plate, or auntie or somebody, and they went and fixed the plate. And they went and fixed the plate, and then she got upset and said, no, I'll go and make it. But she didn't want to make it at first. You know what I mean? So
Right. So so ladies, y'all need to listen. Y'all sitting here tripping about not making no plate. I think it's a good thing. Also, we didn't even take it here. So, and I think Sharifa, you mentioned it, but we were talking about something else. So who eats first? I mean, it depends on how old school you go. When dinner's served, it used to be that the man eats first. You give him his plate before you even give the kid plate.
I would feel guilty doing that. For me, I would feel guilty. I would feel bad for doing it. I mean, for me,
right. But
I mean, I think both people can wait for one another. I don't know. I mean, just eat together.
Right.
We better say grace and eat together.
Hey, so you gotta get that face together.
Go.
I'm saying, I mean, for me, it's been a situation like, no, I'm gonna wait for you because you'll have a lady may say, that's okay, you can go ahead. I'm still putting things together on the table. I would always say, no, I'll wait for you. It's cool. I just think it's the right thing to do, But I mean, you will have times where you just jump right into it. You got a good Popeye sandwich, or some fast food.
When it's crabs, I'm like, sorry.
You're on your own, son.
I set up the table. I put all the
right.
crabs out, and some of the legs are like empty. Like, I thought we was going. Yeah. Oh, I just wanted to check them out. So make sure they good before you get started.
One crab leg left.
Right.
You've been testing it the whole time. There's one leg left.
Well, I had to slow down. I was just like, okay, you gotta leave them something. But it's hard. Right. It's hard. Now you bring some crabs in here and you want me to wait. I mean, no.
Hey, but you know what? It's not always about being formal. You don't have to always be formal. I think if it's a formal dinner, like a Sunday dinner, where fork, spoon, knife, and it's like a Sunday dinner, that's what I'm kind of like, want to do the formal thing. Somebody say the grace, whatever. If it's just we just kind of kicking it, eating some quick food. I mean, each person can say their own grace and you keep it moving. I mean, it depends on the person you're dealing with, basically.
That's true. So look, okay, what was that movie? I'm trying to think of the movie, but they said that one of the rules when it's the one is when he leaves you he gives you the last.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
I was like, well, maybe we can talk about what does that mean? Something that when the man leaves the last, or when he look and say, you want that chicken wing? Because I'm going to get that if you don't want it. But I'm thinking something. You don't think that's the last, you like, if I eat the last, don't take it personal.
I mean, if a woman asked me that, I mean, to me that's cool and I appreciate it, but that wouldn't make me really know what kind of woman she is completely. That's just her being polite in that very moment. You know what I'm saying? To me, it's not about what you ask me; it's how consistently you ask me. And so, if
Right.
you ask me consistently all the time, I know that it's genuinely you. But some
Right.
women or men will try to say certain things just to kind of woo you in because they figure that's what you want to hear or that's what you like, but they can't be consistent with it. So it's about consistency.
That's true. That's true. Say, don't throw that game over here. But
Right.
if Lawrence want to leave them last 3 crabs,
I can imagine.
like, you must like me, don't you?
Hey, no,
Because
no,
we're
look. Don't get
competition.
it twisted. And sometimes, look, you'll have ladies that'll make you plate when they first getting to know you. And after y'all getting together, been together for a while, you ain't no stranger. Go ahead and fix your own plate.
That's
But, you know, it's a different game later on.
that's
You know what
right.
I'm
That's
saying?
like she told you the plates, yeah. And while you at it, what
Right.
was the movie?
That's it.
Can you grab me grab me something while you in there?
Yeah.
Because
I'm like,
I think we
okay.
talked
Look,
about
and now, look, now I got to get in line behind all your nephews and cousins, everybody, you know. So
right,
it's crazy.
right. And we talked about how you're we always eating off their plate, and Sharif and I were laughing and saying that it just tastes better when it's
It
on.
does.
Like, I don't think so.
Like, I don't
See,
need to order my own basket of fries. If you already got some, let me just have some. You ain't gonna eat all that. That one
well, that's
piece
cool.
right there is not gonna affect you.
I mean, that's cool. That's
They
cool on
are,
certain time, at certain moments, you know, but not all the time.
but y'all pretty much y'all gonna eat all of that, because I know it's like most guys are like, if I ordered it, yeah, I
I
plan to
want
eat
it,
it all.
right?
Yeah,
I'm gonna eat it,
like,
right? That's right.
yeah, I'm
That's
gonna
right.
eat it all. I'm not putting some to the side. We're not taking anything home. I don't need a doggy bag. You know,
Right, right.
I plan to
I'm saying
eat.
if you're trying to be romantic and y'all just kind of laying on watching Netflix or something, y'all eating each other's food, you know, that's cool. That's more of a sexy romantic thing. But if we just straight up eating dinner, you know, you have your plate, I have my plate, you know, I'll share some of my food with you, but at the end of the day, we both trying to eat. So, but you know what though? It's not really completely just about who makes whose plate. I think it's really more again about learning the language of the person that you're dealing with. You have to know your audience. I mean, a good preacher, a good politician, a good anybody who has a microphone in their hand who deals with people, they have to learn their audience, even a comedian, right? And so when
Right.
you're dealing with a relationship, it's an audience of one. And so in a relationship, that's your audience. You have to learn that one individual, just like you have to learn 5,000 people in the congregation, or if you have to learn 50, 50 or 150 people in a comedy club. Once you understand the language, you know how to present certain words and certain actions that will be beneficial to you or offensive to the other person. You have to just learn their love language, learn what moves them. We know every woman is different. You can't treat every woman the way you treated your last girlfriend, or you can't treat every man the way you treated your last boyfriend or husband. So learn the person that's in front of you, and if you can't speak their language, whether it's fixing a plate or eating your own French fries, that kind of thing. If you can't do that, I mean, then then maybe that's not the person for you.
Right.
Yeah, I try. It doesn't work all the time. Like with the watermelon, I never cut the watermelons
Oh,
right. So
I
he
love
don't really
watermelon.
he don't buy it though. And I say, can you go ahead and cut the water? He says, you've been in the house with the watermelon all day. You didn't cut it. I said, it's just the way that you cut the watermelon.
That's right.
Yeah,
I
right.
like that. That's good.
It makes him feel good. So
Look,
now he's
look,
like, oh
look
yeah,
at
she like
sexy
the way I
Lisa.
cut that watermelon.
It didn't work.
Set that thing up, baby. Mm.
He wasn't
Hey,
buying it
look,
though.
see, look,
Like, you could have
look.
cut the bag on
No, if a
watermelon.
woman tell me that, that's gonna make me pull up. If a woman tell you
Right.
that, I like the way you cut the watermelon, I'm gonna get the biggest knife I can find.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get see that.
Right. I said it's better.
You
It's
know,
better cut it. I don't know. I make a mess. So of course he was looking at me like, yeah, you just ain't want to do it. Okay.
whatever.
Yeah, whatever. I ain't want to make a
I
mess.
love
So
watermelon.
clean that up. Why you doing that? Clean that up. Yeah, clean that up. No. So on
Hey, but you
September
know what,
9th,
Lisa?
uh-huh.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Finish what you were saying. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say this is part of what we're gonna be having fun with on September
That's right.
19th. And you want to look, I was a minute ago, I was gonna tell you, you're gonna have to school these fellas because some of the stuff you were just saying, I'm like, can y'all handle this? Because they probably be like, man, don't be
Right.
telling them that we supposed to do that.
Hey, well, the 19 ain't gonna be for everybody. Only the people who trying to take it to the next level in 2021. If you're trying to take it to the next level in a relationship, and not just relationship in terms of a husband and wife, but relationship with one another, period, people in general. Because one thing that's common and universal with all of us, relationship is everything. I mean, you can't avoid being in a relationship. That's why when I counsel people, I don't just talk about romantic relationships. I talk about human relationships. Because when you know how to be an individual or a human being or a neighbor or a friend or a coworker, well, then you can be a great lover. You can be a great husband, a great wife. It's the same thing. So I don't just talk about what the man did wrong, what the woman did wrong. We talk about what both people can do wrong, speaking the same language, having the same belief systems, whether it's eating your food, whether it's cleaning up the house, whether it's the toilet seat or the toothpaste caps. I heard y'all talking about that.
That's right, because we talked about that. Because we trying to figure out why. Because I think I'm on the guy's side with this when it comes to the toilet seat. I'm like, okay, well, y'all, we keep fussing about the toilet seat needed, but why we just can't flip it up instead of asking them to flip it down? Why we can't do that?
I don't understand that.
Yeah,
I don't understand that.
Look, I'm asking Shariva for us. I'm kind of team guys with that. So Shariva, she looking like, okay, no, we just don't need to be doing. What's up, Shariva?
About the toilet seat stuff?
Yeah, you just want to flip it. You want to flip it down?
Oh no, you gotta have that thing down. Like my butt don't need to be falling in the toilet. No. When you came over here, it was already down. So when you go up, you push it down. It's easy.
But have you tried
is it worth an argument though?
Right.
Is it worth having an argument though?
Have you tried to flip it up and then somebody right? He said so. If it wouldn't start an argument, we just flip it up and then y'all be good to go.
No, it probably.
I mean, my whole thing is
women. You need to get your life together.
No, but look, women have always complained about the toilet seat, right? They say, and so as a man, you keep it up, you're trying to be, considered or whatever. The lady has to sit on the toilet, or children may have to sit on the toilet or whatever. At the end of the day, just leave it up, or leave it down when you finish. Just pull it back down. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Like, to me, I wouldn't want to get into no argument about it.
Right. Well, I did. I actually asked my mother because I was like, okay, let me get old school and ask. I was like, Mom, okay, so I think we lost you. Okay, here we go. I was like, so Mom, what is your issue with the toilet seat? And she said, well, no, you want it down because things will flash up out the toilet. I said I never actually thought about that.
Oh yeah. That's why they say don't have your toothbrush on the counter because like the bacteria can go up in the air and then it'll be like, oh!
Yes. That's right.
So we got reasons. So those are the reasons why we need them to just flip it down.
Right, I got you. That's cool.
Like, I don't know. I think I would be on the guy's side with that one. Like, we got to give them something. Look,
it's rough on brothers now, baby. Hey, look, you got the police trying to kill us, and now you got the lady trying to kill us.
You said what?
What you say?
I said that's probably why I'm single. I can't. I can't.
But that's real though. You know what? But that's real. Some people have different kind of idiosyncrasies. Some things just annoy them. They may be OCD. They may just be very particular about certain things, and you have to be honest with yourself. Because just because it's a good relationship, don't mean you can live with the person. Living with somebody is totally different from dating them.
This is true.
Because you move in with the person and find out all types of stuff.
This is very true.
You gotta go over that house and see how they live it.
Before you got your bag.
No, that's true.
Exactly.
No, Lisa said something that was very important though, because a few minutes ago you were talking about the watermelon, and see, sometimes it's not always the thing, but it's the intention behind the thing. And so, if a man and woman understand each other's language, it wasn't so much about the watermelon. It's just that the woman is trying to get some affectionate time from you, or the man trying to get some time. So sometimes you can be like, what do you want? Make your own plate, do this, that. And sometimes he's thinking, all I really want to do was just spend some time with you, but you made it into an argument over watermelon. You know what I'm saying? And so you have to be able to read in between the lines. The lines.
I want that watermelon cut with them big chunks like you do. Because otherwise it's mine.
Hey, look.
I don't cut it right.
Look, I mean,
I have to admit, I don't cut it right.
Watermelon conversation.
Right. Well, yeah. So he just need to go and cut that watermelon, right? So okay, so
Hey,
what
look,
we,
hey, but look,
uh-huh.
hey, look, but if the man or the woman is poetic, you can take that watermelon and make it to a sexy conversation. I mean, come on, there's a lot you can play off of with watermelon. So if you know, if the man and woman fasten their feet, you like, baby, I love the way you cut that watermelon and this and that. And, you know, after a while, stop looking at the watermelon, start looking at you. You know what I'm saying? And
with
so,
that big
you
knife,
know,
with
just
the big knife
and
in
do
your
what you got
hand,
to do.
with that big knife in his hand, I was
No,
like,
not
"No,
cut you. Hey, look, you stick that knife in the watermelon like a thin line between love and hate. Remember how that lady put the knife in the cake? You put that knife in the watermelon and leave it in the kitchen, and y'all can go have a discussion back in the office. You know what I'm saying?
Because I'll be like, you got this.
Real.
I'll do it. Yeah, don't. Yeah, that's all right. I'll do it. Yeah,
Watermelon love song.
good. Look, I would be like, this is
That's
not a good
juice.
watermelon cutting day for you. This is not a good watermelon cutting day for you. So we gonna, give me that knife. Give me that knife.
That is too funny, man.
Let's tell them a little bit about what we plan on doing, because we're looking for, I want to remind them, we're looking for, and we want you all to continue to send your submissions in on the 12th. We're going to let people know that we have who's chosen to be on the panel, but we want 2 females, single females. We want 2 single males. We want a couple that's 15 years married or more, and a couple who's 5 years married or less. Because their views would be totally different on what to expect. And what I was I think last time when we were talking, I was telling Shariva that a lot of times some of these issues between men and women are just the way men and women communicate. It's not really like as big a deal as we make it, because it's like, okay, well, the next one you're going to get is going to do the same thing. So, you know, you might not like it, but you switching up is not going to change the fact that now he's going to do it too. So, you know, I mean, some things it's just men stuff and women stuff.
Yeah, it's language. I mean, I keep going back to the word language. It's just language. That's all it really is, you know. And then we were talking about the COVID-19. We definitely want to talk about on the 19th about COVID-19 and isolation, because at least you and I had this conversation before, how isolation has brought a new awareness to a lot of people to understand who they're really dealing with. Sometimes you're so busy crossing each other and passing every day, going to work, going to the daycare, and going to the grocery store, that people never really get a chance to know the person who they live with, or you knew them, but you haven't known them in a long time, and they've changed over the years. And the COVID-19 has forced us to see them who they genuinely are. And either it's making you fall deeper in love, or it's making some people grow further apart during the COVID-19. So I want to talk about that, how people can, find out where they are.
Right.
Yeah, I know, it's real.
COVID was like I think I had told you, I said, okay, I had a moment where I called my mother and said, Mom, they trying to kill me up in here. They trying to kill me. So I think that'll be fun, because I think COVID being so real and we're still in it. And I guess it would be interesting to talk about COVID and dating, because now, I mean, you can't see anybody, I'm sure
virtual dating.
Well,
did you see the one that they had a story about? I think it was right when COVID kind of started hitting, they shut everything down, and the person was dating the person like literally in another building across from them. So he was sitting at his table and she was sitting at her table at her apartment on the rooftop. And they literally sat there acting like they were having dinner together while the phone was on FaceTime. I thought that was the cutest thing. It's the thought that counts.
What's the thought, Shariva?
The thought is he's being creative. He was the one who delivered he got somebody to deliver the food to her, the table, the table, everything. I feel like lots of guys nowadays are just not creative. It's just like, oh, let's just go to the movies. Oh, let's just go to dinner. No, let's do something else. Like, I don't want to do the regular things. I don't know. Let's go axe throwing.
Let's go let's go do something that's different. Let's go to the shooting range. Let's practice.
Right.
That's gonna scare him.
You could teach me how to be, self-defense. So, this is how you hold the gun.
But that can be sexy too, because if you go into the range You can get to stand like there with your boo, come behind her or him. You know, you can
That, yes. Just
I mean, you
make
can make
sure
anything romantic if you can do it, you know.
that's true, but just make sure you give a disclaimer that you're not to point this thing at me when I piss you
That's
off.
right. Yeah.
I know that's right.
That's good. That's good.
I'm going to piss
Oh,
you
wow.
off.
Well, I know how he shoot and he know how I shoot. So we hit.
You're wow.
We're gonna talk about like pushing buttons and you know when you date, whether you married or dating, you know, and why we know what your buttons are, but we push them anyway. Because a lot of times we pushing buttons on purpose. We just
That's
going.
true. But why is that though?
Yeah, why? And we should talk about this. Why you push the button? Why you think that women, women or men, why you think we push buttons when we know that's gonna set it off? That's
a good question. Yeah, I think so.
I think we would get a whole lot of
like the makeup.
Huh?
Some people might like the makeup portion of it.
Well,
you said portion. Hey, how big is that portion? You said
they don't like the fighting part, but they may like that portion, you know.
So if you don't kill each other during the fighting,
exactly.
I totally agree. I agree. And again, it's just like the watermelon. Sometimes it's the message behind the act itself. And so you thinking she want to argue with you, she may just want to make up with you. So sometimes you got to be able to read between the lines how your lady or how your man speaks, because all they really want is affection and attention. It may not be that they're trying to start an argument with you. So you know.
So I'm hoping that we actually bridge some gaps with this conversation, because I know the women might say, well, why do you do this all the time? Like one of the things I think we talked about earlier was always thinking it's an argument. Soon as the mouth goes open, it's like, nah, I'm not gonna say nothing because we're gonna argue. No, we're just having a discussion. It's just a discussion.
Exactly.
I don't think guys think there's such thing as a discussion. They're like, what is a discussion?
But you know, there's an art to arguing. There's an art to it. A lot of people don't realize that even when you're conversating or arguing, it's an art form. You have to learn how to master even argue, because if not, you're going to end up hurting the other person and regretting it later on. You're going to say something that you can't retrieve. You say something, you talk mama, you talk about the person's weight, you talk about something that you know that's a very sensitive area. And when you try to bring it back and ask for forgiveness, she may forgive you, he may forgive you, but they won't forget it. You know what I mean?
Right. You know? Right. So that's that button.
Yeah.
So that's when you push that button that you know. Because some people, it's like when we fussing, it's all bets off.
Yeah.
I can say whatever I meant it when I said I'm sorry now, but I meant it when I said it. No, just kidding.
And most people do. Most people mean what they say when they're upset. Believe a person when they tell you what they mean. Look, when a person says something to you while they're upset, you better believe them, because it's how they genuinely feel. They may regret how they said it, or they may regret that they said it, but they genuinely mean what they said. You know?
Oh, Nancy,
they talk about mama,
that's a whole nother topic right there.
Now you're so
now people gonna be sitting there going through like, wait a minute. So when he was mad at me, he said this, and this. Yeah. Now we might need to go back to this. Like
he meant that. Okay. When when the people say, "Oh, I'm just kidding," nah, you wasn't kidding.
No, you're not.
Because said you meant that. When you said that, you meant that.
You meant what you said. Yep, you meant and I don't forget anything. So you meant what you said when you said it, because you were thinking about it long before you said it. But now it just came out, and now at this point, it's damaged. It's damaged goods,
And look, stuff. Well, I guess I don't know. That's a good question. Okay, so on behalf of the women, when women say stuff in arguments, we kind of hit below the belt. We go. Some women go real hard. They go below the belt. But men don't seem to take longer for men to do that. It's like they'll just avoid the conversation before they get into. Now they'll get there at some point, but it takes them a lot longer. So why do you think that's the difference? Because women, we go immediately. We like you, but men won't say. They won't say anything. So what you think is the difference? Why men don't go there? They just not arguers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, men are like a ticking time bomb. You know, most people think that men aren't emotional, but men are so emotional. That's why typically they ain't sure, because when they show it, you know, it depends on what kind of man you're dealing with. You know, sometimes they just explode and they don't really know how to control their emotions. So they're trying to avoid hurting you verbally, or in some cases, if it's a physical kind of relationship, they're trying to avoid, you know, physically hurting you. You know, because a lot of times people get physically hurt in the midst of a heated argument. They don't mean to, or they may not necessarily abuse or beat you, but they may push you down or push you back. Where if you fall and hit your head, when they push you back by accident, it can cause a death. You know, it can be, you know, something that can be, you know, detrimental to the relationship. So I think that a lot of men, because men are passionate. Look at how they act with the football game, at the basketball game. Brothers are screaming, excited, they're passionate. But why is it that they're not passionate when they talk to the lady, or when ladies are talking to the man? It's because it's a different whole mindset in terms of communication. Most men, they say, are not communicators. Men are communicators. You just haven't learned how to tap into getting him to communicate to you. That's all it really is about. That's all it is. Think about it. They talk to the fellas about motorcycles. They talk about basketball, football, sports, cars. They communicate very well. Why aren't they communicating to you? That's what the question is. What do you think? What do you think, Sheree? What do you think?
I think a lot of men communicate. I think a lot of men communicate very well in the beginning, whether they're telling the truth or lying. Okay. But later on, I feel like it just kind of slowly just diminishes. I guess it could be whether if they're truly interested in you or if they're just playing games. So it's a good way for us women, sometimes we don't figure that out as like red flags, like, okay, wait a minute, like why he not talking no more? We used to stay up and have love Joan conversations all night long, and now all of a sudden they just stopped. Like so I don't know. It's just I feel like I don't know.
Hey, but you know what?
It's a mystery.
Well, listen. The reason why the guy or the woman may not continue to do what they used to do, because as you get to know the person, you know, I mean, even the Bible says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So whatever is in your heart is going to come out your mouth eventually. All you have to do is allow the person to talk and speak their truth and listen very carefully, and you can extract different things. See, with me, I don't have to ask a woman 1,000 questions. I may ask her certain specific questions, but as she's telling me about her life story, I'm extracting different things and I put it in my mental file, and it tells me a lot about her personality. The red flags and the messages are always there early on, the first 1 or 2 conversations. So, you know, if a man stops communicating, that means there was something that he heard, you know, that hit his switch off. You know, the more you intrigue a man or the more you intrigue a woman, if you say the right words, you can draw a person without ever touching their body. If you're a great communicator, you can speak and have a great conversation where you actually can touch them without touching them at all. And that's the next level of communication that I want to talk about on the 19th, that I think 2021 was coming to my spirit, is that it's time for us to take it to the next level of intimacy and not just focus on intercourse, but I want to talk about outer course. Outer course deals with communication and learning the language and learning the signals and the signs. And that's where we've been going wrong. A lot of us get caught up in the reactions, but we don't focus on the root. And so that's the next phase. I think we need to figure out the root.
I like that, because we do get caught up in the reaction, because that's the easy part. Because it's because you internally you take whatever somebody said or what they did, and then you run with it. But I'm thinking, okay, so I'm just gonna throw this out there. But do men usually take that kind of time to get to the root of why? Okay, say she's sitting there laughing. You know how we have our days, you know, where we just we tripping, we lunching. Okay, we are. We are. And the guy will be like, you lunching, and they don't want to. They're done at that level. It's like, I'm not digging into what happened to you today. Get it together, you know. Like, but women, we tend to want to find out, well, how was your day? What happened? So I think sometimes that they don't want to go. And I see this, to me, I feel like on a whole, we just don't go deep enough. You know what I'm saying? To find out how people really tick, what makes them cry, what makes them laugh, what makes them, and then do those things. Instead, we just doing whatever we want to do, and you better like it. That was funny. You better laugh,
Hey, but you know what? Hey, look, but Lisa, that's funny that you say that because a lot of people in relationships, they try to love a person how they want to love them, but you have to love them according to how they need to be loved. Just like a
right,
car, you can't put the same gasoline and oil in any kind of car. It's specifically made for a certain type of, oil or gasoline. Relationships are the same way. You can't just treat every man the same way you treated all the other men, or you can't just treat a lady the way you treated all your other ladies. You have to find out, what the manual says about the individual. If men don't want to go deep, trust me, the issue was way before that conversation. It's something that probably happened way in their past. It's probably something that happened early on in the relationship. But a lot of times we miss the red flags because we're so in love. Our heads are up in the cloud. We miss all the details. I'm telling you, whatever is in a person's heart can just be the lady come out of their mouth. Early on, if you listen to them, you can tell that the guy's abusive. You can tell if he's playing games. You can tell if the woman is a real nurturer. You can tell if the woman just wants money. All the different negative things that we can think about one as men and women. They always said the first couple conversations, but most people don't get it sometime until 4 or 5 babies later or 4 or 5 years later, whatever. But we learn how to be a little bit more sharper. You know what I'm saying? Seriously, you got to be sharp early on. And look, Lisa,
right.
no, Lisa, you said something that's very important because you talked about the COVID-19. See, COVID-19 has been the greatest masterful teacher for us. You know why? Because it's forcing us. And Sharifa, you talked about having dates creatively from a distance, right? COVID-19 is forcing us to have to use skills that we've never used before. We have to, we're forced to have to conversate because if I can't see you, what we can do is talk all the time on the phone. We're talking with video. It's a virtual kind of connection we're having. And so either you have the skills or you don't have the skills. But COVID-19 is the great reveal all. It's making everybody realize what more they need to do and what less they need to do. And in terms of communication, if all we have is the phone or a video, somebody better learn how to talk and say something and open their mouth. You know what I mean? Or the relationship will die.
That's real talk right there, because when that's all you got and you never, that's a good point that if you've never used those skills or perfected those skills, now you're in a situation where that's the only way you can get through and communicate, and you weren't good at it. So then that's when the chaos happens because you're not communicating. They're not hearing you. And then the other thing we said we're going to talk about is the translation of things. So, when women start to fussing and they start to attack how a man does something, or you didn't do that right, or they translate it to, okay, I'm just a total screw up we have to be careful on what we say to people because they're going to receive it their way. We might not have meant that you're a screw up all the time, just this one time, but they take it as, okay, so I'm just a total screw up, and that's translation. And then women, we take things sensitively. You say we look bad in that dress. We think, well, we look bad in every dress. You don't know nothing that out.
Let me go evaluate my closet.
Now
hey, look, but all you gotta do is think about your boss. Look, all you have to do is think about your job, your supervisor, your boss. Imagine having a kind of boss who comes in every day and they're negative. They always telling you what you're doing wrong. They always telling you that your work is not good enough. They always tell you, that you're late. It's like they always think about the negative stuff. They never tell you how good you are or how great of a job you're doing. Handle your mate the same way you want your supervisor to handle you. If you want to be acknowledged on administrative day or secretary day, you want them to give you flowers in the car and let them know how well you're doing. I mean, in a relationship, I think the man and woman wants the same thing. They want to be appreciated. Women need affection. See, women are more affectionate, and men are more about affirmation. And see, men like to be affirmed. And so, women, you guys just want to know, hey, baby, you look cute today. I love your hair. I love your makeup, sweetheart. Oh, I love you got eyebrows, orange girl. You look sexy. I love your new perfume. That's what, being affectionate or touching her. Touch them. They have something called touch therapy, touch stimulation. You're touching their hands or their body or their shoulder, or it's a matter of making that kind of connection. But men like to be affirmed. Sometimes if women are touching a man, you can be like, all right, baby, I'm watching TV, I'm watching the game. Because men like to be touched when it comes to sex. But outside of, oftentimes a lot of men are not necessarily touchy-feely, but men like to be affirmed. So if you tell your man, baby, you look real nice in your new uniform. I love you when you ride your motorcycle. You look sexy with that suit and that tie on. I love your idea. You want to be a rapper? Well, I love the way you rap. I love the way you sing. I love the way you take pictures. Men like to be affirmed. So that's why when men sometimes go outside of the relationship, and I'm not saying that it's right to do, but the reality is that a lot of people go outside of the relationship and they get that kind of affection from someone else, whether it's the man or the woman, because the outside person is affirming them most of the time. Of course, they don't have to deal with them every day, and they don't have to deal with their dirty socks, or that drawers thrown all over the room, or the dirty dishes. The reality is that the other person has learned how to master that person's language, and they learn how to master all the details that the man in the relationship has missed, or the woman in the relationship has missed. And it's not. I mean, women always think when men cheat it's just about sex. It's really more about affirmation. Sex maybe be the icing on the cake, quote unquote, or the bonus, but really don't look affirmation. So, and women, they want affection. If they cheat on their man, it's because maybe the man doesn't show them any affection. He doesn't show them any kind of interest at all, that they look sexy with the new dress. Matter of fact, you brought 10 new dresses. He never even recognized them in the same closet that he shared. 10 new dresses or 10 new pair of shoes. I'm just saying that's real, right? And so we got to pay attention to one another, And when a person is really into you, they will pay attention to you. If they don't pay attention to the details, it's something that's distracting them. It may not be a relationship. It could be something else in terms of, playing basketball with the fellows or going to the pool hall. But something else is distracting them in some kind of way. And you have to find out how to capture your man or your woman's attention. And that's what it's really coming back to. So after COVID-19, we got to sharpen up our skills, because now, all we have is virtual relationships, unless you live with your mate or live with your lover or whatever. Right. But the truth of the matter is that COVID-19 is forcing us to become better communicators. Either you can communicate or you can't. So for some of us, if you can communicate well, you both are going to fall in love all over again and learn some new things about each other that you never knew before COVID-19. But if you're not a good communicator, all you just wanted was just sex only, or all you just wanted was something for your own good or intention, that person is going to really see who you are, because it's going to be revealed now. And they're going to realize after COVID-19, I'm done with you, boo. It's over with. You know what I mean? I'm not feeling it. You don't know my life.
A lot of the divorce rates have shot up, and it's serious in amount. So it's sad at the same time. It's kind of like we're stuck in the house. You've been stuck in the house with your mate or whatever. So you're feeling like, oh gosh, like I didn't know he was acting like this all of a sudden. You start seeing the true colors.
And she said stuck. So, that's if you're feeling stuck, even though I guess on some level, let's be real, on some level, everybody's going to feel stuck with COVID. Even your kids. I saw some little video on Facebook where the little boy had his coat and hat on, and Mo was like, "Where you going?" He said, "Out of here." Okay, so I get it.
Yeah,
I get it, because it feels like jail on some level, because you just can't freely go. And look, if you get out the door, where are you going? Ain't nowhere to go.
Hey, but Lisa, you said something that's very important. You keep saying some very important things. You just mentioned the word jail. And see, what's interesting is that people don't realize that relationships have something in common with prison, and they also have something in common with college educational school. All of them are institutions. Prison institution, educational system is an institution, but marriage is also an institution. And a relationship is an institution. So what do they all have in common? They have structure. Where somebody is expecting you to do something a certain kind of way consistently all the time. You just can't do what you want to do anymore, whether you're married or whether you're in jail. That's why a lot of men say, "Man, I'm getting married and it's my chain and ball." They use those comments of prison, even though it's unfortunate that it's like that. But the reality is that we have been instituted. If you've been married to somebody for 10 or 20 years and you've learned their patterns and their ways every day, and it's only you and them, it's no different. That's why when a lot of men and women come out of long-term relationships, like after 20 years or 30 years, and they get divorced, it's a whole new world to them. They're no different from a person coming home from prison. Because when a person comes from prison, they're trying to figure out how to operate in this new world. Things are different. Things have changed. And in a relationship, we become institutionalized. I think we got some questions on here, y'all.
Yeah, Mike then came on here talking about go fishing. That's what I do. Well, go on fishing, Mike. Mike is so silly.
Go fishing, Mike.
Well, and and here's the thing. I had to learn. Okay, so I'm gonna be a little transparent. So I had to learn the hard way too. I'm thinking I'm one of those that, hey, you play golf. Yes, it's different, but let's try it. So I go and buy some golf clubs and come home with golf clubs. He was like, what? Because he felt like we bowl together. We do all these things. The golf belongs to me. And you going, I was like, well, fine then. I'll go find some girls to play golf with. But I had to realize that they need their own space to do their thing without you hanging around. And sometimes we as women don't respect that. For whatever reasons, because I thought I was doing something, okay, and I don't know a lick about golf, but I was just like, I'll got a cart, I'll do whatever. But he wanted that space because we do so much together. It was like, can I have this? So we got to learn to give them their space too.
Well, I mean, men like their space, just like most men like to have that what they call their man cave or whatever. I mean, the truth of the matter is, if you understand the psychology of a man, men like to autonomize with themselves, and the word autonomy means to become one with yourself. And it's the natural inert nature of a man to always come, go, and come back again. It's the nature. Like women can sit still and they can be in a relationship and they can be right in your face and just keep on loving you, just constantly love you. With a man, sometimes he has to do it in increments. He has to do it in little breaks because he can't handle sometimes too much affection like that. And sometimes a woman can misread that the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? And so I think it's a good idea, though, that you try to go golfing with him because you're trying to speak his love language. But you have to let him go golfing by himself sometimes, and maybe other times you guys can do it together. Cook together, go golfing together, or whatever.
The cooking thing.
My man Mike.
And Mike said he tried that, but she damn near threw my rod into the Potomac. Okay, but look. Mike, if you share that time with your wife, because Mike is newly married, he's a newlywed. Okay. If you share that time with your wife, you have to understand that you may lose a few good rods. Okay, get over it. Okay, teacher. Okay? That's all I'm saying, Mike. Mike is crazy. So
Mike, the issue is not a fishing rod, though. The issue is not about the fishing rod. The issue is about communication. And so that means that somewhere along the line, maybe Mike and his new bride, they have to sit back and begin to communicate about what the boundaries are, about the things he like to do, things she like to do, and so forth. The fishing rod is only a symbol. The fishing rod is only a reaction to the issue. That's not the root of the issue. The root of the issue is about space and boundaries. And that's the conversation that Mike and his new wife need to have,
When they probably good right now because they only in less than a year. So we actually need to as a matter of fact, so Mike, you need to fill out the form. I don't know, did you have a link, Sharifa? Could you find a link and maybe put it in there? But Mike, you and Elisa need to get on the show. Because I know you full of energy. And share with us because y'all are newlyweds, and newlywed time is totally different than once you've been married for a minute. Then you like looking at the newlyweds like y'all doing the most. It's just not that.
Calm down.
What Mike said?
Calm down.
It's about he said no. It's about the rod paid too much.
He paid too much. That's true, Mike. I tell you. Hey, Mike, but if you don't get the communication together, Mike, you're going to pay a greater price than a rod. Believe me, brother, down the line. So it's better to get it dealt with man. While it's still just a rod only. Look, next time it can be more than a rod.
I will tell you, though, with Mike, he's so in love. Mike was one of those longtime friends that I was like, I want him to find the right woman or whatever. Yeah. And then when Elisa came, I was like, that's it. So when they got married, I'm just so happy for him because he is in love. The best comment that a man could say once he gets married, if somebody says, how's everything going? How is the marriage going? And I think he said, it's great. And I was like, you know what? Because I think we don't respond. People normally when people ask you that, you be like, and sometimes we're playing and it's not serious all the time. But it's nice to hear, that men actually think this is great. Yeah, what did he say? I agree. No, she not going nowhere. She got my daddy name.
I know that's right, Mike. My man.
I know that's right. So Mike, we need you to, I know you still on here. So you see this form right here. We need you and Elisa to fill this form out and come be on the show on September 19th. You all would actually fulfill the 5 years or under couple. And we got some single ladies that have put what do you say?
Oh, me,
Mike. He's so stupid.
No, don't do that, Mike.
So silly. He is so silly. Where's Elisa at? That's what I know. Where's Elisa at? Let's see what she say. But no, I think and he would bring some good energy to the show because we have some single women who have responded. What I did want to kind of put something out there for is the guys. So Durik, what do we need to do to get these guys to respond to just coming on? Because I mean, they acting like they scared. What they scared of?
But you know what? But I don't think it's just about this particular program. Most men don't invest in relationships the way women do. Women are the ones who'll be willing to pay for counseling. They'll be willing to suggest going to counseling. Most men feel like they're being dragged to go to counseling. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to go because it's going to open them up. But see, the issue is not about their present girlfriend or their present wife. The issue with most men is it's the history behind them. Most men, if you look at the history of most men, they didn't necessarily have open communication with them, maybe their family, maybe their last girlfriend or their last wife. Most men are not really trained to be great communicators. Most women always want men just to provide and to perform. Men have been groomed to be performers and providers. And unfortunately, that's not all that men are supposed to do. Men need to learn how to be affectionate. Men need to learn how to communicate. They need to learn how to be sensitive. But if nobody is teaching the sons at an early age how to be sensitive and how to be more than just a mechanic and more than just the guy who cut grass and more than just the guy who's fixing everything around the house, when women finally do want them to open up and say something, it's very difficult for them because you have to also look at your expectations as a woman. Stop putting all these expectations on men only to be the mechanic man or to be the maintenance man. Sit down and require him to involve, communication, talk to the kids, offer suggestions, think about the grocery list, think about, a goal or a plan for the family. If you don't get him involved with the intellectual, mental things in a relationship, and then when you finally need some help, you bring him in, that's not going to be an interest to him. It's going to be something that disinterests him and he's going to shut down. So men want to talk about things that interest them. And so if it's a fishing rod, if it's a motorcycle, then we can talk about that. But no matter what we talk about, as a host, I'm going to always bring it back around to relationships. So I want to welcome all the brothers to come. We can talk about motorcycles, fishing rods, pool tables, barbershops, whatever you want to discuss. We're going to tie it into with the relation, how it affects the relationship. So that's what I want to encourage the brothers to come on out. Let's talk. Let's have barbershop talk while we having the Who Runs the World, boys and girls, I like to do that.
Right. They're going to lose. They're going to lose if they don't come correct because the ladies are stepping up. Okay, they are stepping up. They got questions. They even got answers for their questions. So if y'all don't get it and answer some of them, they're gonna answer them for you.
Exactly.
But I think it's important that we keep the lines of communication open because, I mean, to be honest with you, the communication changes over the course of a relationship. So the way you communicate when you first meet is different. I think you're right when you talk about expectations that I think, and I will say mostly for women, that we expect things to be, how they sell you, whatever you're doing when you go in, you better continue. But humanly, that's not really, it's not going to stay the same. It's going to change.
I agree. And you said that was very powerful. You talk about expectations. Expectations are very important because sometimes it's not that the man disappoints, hurt you. Sometimes it's not that the woman hurt you or disappoint you. Sometimes we hurt ourselves because of our own expectations. Because we expect something in our mind that the other person didn't agree with. And so that's unfair to have an expectation if both people are not in agreement. You know what I'm saying? And so expectations are very powerful. Sometimes it can destroy a relationship because I expected you to be like a man, or I expected you to be like a woman. Well, what is a man supposed to do? What is a woman supposed to do? Just because you do this don't mean that my other girlfriend like me to do this, or just because your last husband told you to do this, or your last boyfriend, it doesn't mean that moves me. So again, you have to learn the language of the person. Only expect what you can expect from them. That's why when you go to the doctor, they don't expect from you something from their last patient. Each patient has their own, and they go into your medical history to see what your body can handle, what your body can tolerate, and they specifically give you prescriptions for your specificity. It's something for your body, for your high, your blood pressure, your height, your weight. And so relationship is the same way. You have to go into this just like a doctor and find out specifically everything mentally, mind, body, and soul, what your mate can handle, what they can't handle, what their boundaries are, what their borders are. And once you understand it, then you'll know how to prescribe a regimen for them and just keep repeating that pattern over and over and over again. So, yeah.
This is why we need to make sure y'all, if y'all miss this, y'all, I don't know what's wrong with y'all. Cause I
I'm
mean,
excited. I'm
I'm
excited.
talking about relationship nuggets, and I love talking about relationships because it's like you have relationships with everybody. You have relationships with your kids. You have relationships on the job. You have relationships with your parents, and it changes over years. As your parents get older, then you change how you talk, and so now you're kind of, the parents become the childlike when they need you, and you got to still make sure you're not crossing no lines when you grown now, or us having grown kids as opposed to when they were little kids, or us talking to our men and women, and let's say this for men and women, but when you're talking to your spouse, you're talking to them as if they are your child as opposed to your spouse.
Right.
I'm not saying that it's done intentionally, but I think at times we need to be more mindful of how we talk to each other. I think that causes a lot of problems because we don't watch what we say and how we say it. We just get it out. So I'm excited about this because September 19th is going to be real talk. It's not for the weak and the scared. We're going to drop all kinds of nuggets. We're going to ask all kinds of questions, and we want people to be honest. No, don't come with no okey doke,
right,
or acting like everything is all good because you're lying. Okay,
it's not just to talk. We got to talk.
That's right. We want real conversation. Look, I meant to tell Mike because Mike said unfortunately they were out of town, but it's virtual, bruh. So you got
that's good.
So try a new one, Mike. But no, thank you for coming on, Mike. And maybe I need to give him a call and say, fill out that form, and we'll see you while y'all riding in the
car. Lisa, I want to say this, and you said something that's very important about the brothers. I just want to send out a clarion call to all the brothers. Please, please, please show up. This is an opportunity for you to talk. I mean, I've been through everything you can imagine a man has been through. I've learned some lessons. I mean, it's real. You know what I'm saying? From A to Z. And the bottom line, men just don't talk enough. Women are always talking. Men invest in books. Women invest in information. A lot of brothers are not reading. They're not finding out about relationships. So, in order for you to be successful, you gotta go to school. I mean, in life, in order to have a good career, you go to school to learn about that particular trade or profession, right? Marriage is a trade and a profession. You have to learn information about it, or you're gonna fail at it. It's really that simple. So, while men are jiving around and playing around, women are reading books. They're getting information, seminars. They're talking to preachers, counselors, therapists, and so they're gonna come with an arsenal of information. So if you're not ready, you might want to start reading information with your lady, like the book, The 5 Languages of Love. I recommend that book to a lot of people. Learn the language of your mate. Because if I'm speaking German and you speaking French, there's going to be a language barrier between us. So love is the same way. We can come from the same background. We can even be the same spiritual denomination. Both of us are Baptists. Both of us are AME. So what? I don't care if, but that doesn't mean we have the same belief system living together within the household. Sometimes you can be from the same high school, from the same neighborhood, but your belief systems are different.
That's true.
The language of your love is really that simple.
That's true. Well, and you reminded me when you mentioned that we're going to have some giveaways. So we want y'all to definitely be there. And I thought it would be fun to have. I think there's another book that was Men Are Like. I think we talked about it on the live too. Men Are Like Waffles, Women Are Like Spaghetti. So we got some giveaways. So y'all, some people are gonna walk away with some things that will help them to start to communicate with their future wife, future boyfriend, future friend, whatever it is. So we're excited about it. Durik, thank you so much for actually hosting. This is going to be so cool. And we want everybody to come on. We could replay this live and go and put your information in there. We got the form in the live. Fill the form out. It is not that hard. We did ask for video too. If you want to send video, it will be very entertaining.
Ask your question.
The video questions coming. Huh?
And I say, tell them to keep the questions coming.
Yes, keep the questions coming because we're gonna be throwing as many as we can, and I'm sure we'll have leftover questions. We're hoping that we can do this again, because I think we should continue to go back to the drawing board because this is like a never-ending subject. You can't never figure out how to communicate enough. You just can't.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, the way that things are going in life right now with the whole COVID-19 coronavirus, people are dying, like before, people are losing their jobs. This is the time for us to communicate and come together and really, really, really find out who we are and where we're going from here, because this is crucial. I mean, if you found out that you only have 2 weeks to live or 3 weeks to live, how would you love your lover? How would you love your mate? How would you evaluate what kind of guy you're looking for? Does it really matter what kind of car he has or what kind of bank account he has if you only have 2 weeks to live? Love your mate as if they only had 2 weeks to live. And if you do, then you can have a life to live. And I also want to encourage everybody to share this. Share this live right here with all your friends. Tell them to tune in on the 19th. We're going to be talking about relationship when all the brothers. We're not going to bash the brothers. We're not going to bash the ladies. We're going to have a conversation, because who really runs the world? I mean, love runs the world. It's not really boys or girls. Love runs the world. Love runs the world. But
and if the guys don't show up, then we gonna take the win. So y'all better show up, because the ladies are ready. Last week when we were on here, Dana was showing up. Dana, Cheryl, these ladies were showing up. They had some serious questions, and actually Dana was schooling people on some stuff. Like, I got some things to say, okay? Because I mean, if you think about it, everybody has gone through some stuff. Dating can be crazy. And then here's the thing with dating and even in relationship, that trust is such a huge issue, and you can't build trust on silence. You gotta talk. Somebody gotta know something. I mean, even if you say I don't like you, I gotta know that. You know what I'm saying?
You'll know it.
Right.
You'll know it.
Well, but okay, so you will know it most of the time, but just think about those caveats where guys don't say what they really feel. You know what I'm saying? They don't really. They halfway say it, but then they're like, "Nah, I ain't gonna put myself out there like that." What now? Who is this? We got Michelle. Y'all can school me on how to get a text. Now, wait a minute. That is
a text back.
Yeah. That is a good one.
That is a good one.
So the ladies are saying that the fellas don't text you back. They, you send a text and they just like, here's the response that guys say. Oh, I was supposed to say something? Hello, like,
or you write this long paragraph and all they're gonna put is okay.
Okay. Hey, look, you put a whole paragraph, they say K, not even okay.
That's right. Exactly. So wait a minute, Michael representing for the guys with you, Durik. So he said women been controlling men since the very first 30 days. Remember, she convinced her to eat that apple. You're so silly.
It's true. Hey, look, well, that's true. I mean, that's important. But you know what? But Mike was making a very good point. Women have power. They have the power. It's called the power of persuasion. And so the power of persuasion is women have a way of enticing you, but we have to learn how to either eat or resist. It's up to you, It can go either way.
So Michelle says why you do me to death.
No, what you doing?
What you doing? I got help you out. Conversation. They just be like, "Well, what you doing?" The same thing I was 5 minutes ago.
No, how about this? Talking to you.
That's funny, man. Right. That's funny.
So she said, "Yep, texting is." She said, "So Karen says texting is not communicating."
Well, texting is a form of communicating, but it shouldn't be the only way. I mean, when you're talking about something that's intense, something that needs details, then somebody need to pick up the phone. If it's something like, hey, I'm in the store, you need me to pick up something brief, then texting is okay. But when you're talking about heart-to-heart conversation, it needs to be directly communicated.
Right. Don't send me no text. I want to hear your voice. I want to hear the inflection in your voice when you say what you said. Right. Then I'm going to know that you're right. And then
the tone in your text message. Well, how do I have a tone in my text?
well, wait a minute.
No, don't get it. That's real, though.
It is.
There is tone.
I'm sure I have all types of tones in my text. My face everything. So
Mike right there. Okay, so he says, but I'm right, and all of these exclamation points. Okay. I'm hearing tone. I'm hearing tone. That's that Leo and him coming out. You know, Leo's. Yeah, you know they think they know
Hey,
everything.
look,
So.
look at all those exclamation points. That's the tone right there. That's the tone.
That is the tone. Look at Mike. See, that's okay. So you and Elisa need to come on the show because you got things to say. You got things to say. So let's see. Karen said exactly. So Mike, you got things to say. So what? So y'all coming on? It's 7 to 9. Oh, he said they at a wedding. Okay. Well, tell him y'all got a break for a couple of hours. I mean, they're dancing. No, I'm just kidding. So who is this? Oh, this so Michelle. Oh, I started something. So Michelle said Leos are attention seekers.
See? Look, the battle of the Zodiac.
Michelle, don't tell them that I
Battle
said
of
this.
the Zodiac.
They don't want you to know that they are though. Okay. Don't put this stuff out there because they don't want you to know. You right. No, I'm just kidding. So Henrietta said tone in your text. Case punctuation. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Put capital,
exactly.
capital letter on it. Yeah, you yelling at me.
Why you yelling at me?
Emojis, all that. Yep. Emojis, you put all kind of signs and symbols, you know?
Boo.
Oh, So we are going to have a ball. We are going to have so much fun, and I'm so glad that y'all are representing. So Mike, I mean, where your buddies at? Since y'all going to be at the wedding, you need to call your friends and the single friends, and they know they looking. So I mean, what they waiting for? Here's a perfect opportunity to learn some tips. Durik said, you know, he wanna tell y'all some things, and you was amen in some of that. Why don't you come on this show on September 19th and get some tips so that we can start getting through this communication thing and creating wonderful, nourishing relationships that last forever and ever and ever.
Mm-hmm. Friends from Wakanda.
COVID-proof relationships, you know?
Yeah, because, you know, you think about it. First, okay, so let me ask this. So do men think, and I guess it's to women too, that you should be friends first?
That's a question for me?
Yeah, for men or women. Some people like, well, I mean, you don't necessarily have to be friends, but some people think, no, we need to really be friends first.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I hear a lot of people say that, and it's not a bad idea. But I mean, I think it's also sometimes it sets us up for unrealistic expectations. I don't think that it's important to be just the person's best friend. I just think you need to be able to be connected to the person because you don't have to be their friend to be great communicators. You know what I'm saying? If you know how to communicate well and know their language, it's not about friendship. It's about soulship. You know, you can soulfully connect with that person. That's what soul mating is really all about. It's about understanding them beyond the surface kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's real. He's scared of you, Lisa.
Why are they scared of me? Because I just keep it real. So no, they scared of what I'm gonna ask them. Yeah, because I'm gonna ask. Yeah, I'm gonna ask. So I don't care. Tell them don't be scared. Don't be scared. I ain't gonna hurt them. I ain't gonna hurt them. Talking about they scared of me.
I don't need no more friends. I'm pushing forward.
Hey, look, see, everybody needs something different. See? Everybody needs something different.
Look, here's the whole thing too. What we'll be dealing with, and that's why I like that we'll have different age groups, because if you think about it, dating after 50 is very different than dating at 20, 25 years old. After 50, it's like we don't have time for all of this stuff y'all talking about. We ain't got time. We halfway through this journey. We ain't got time. We got to get through this.
Like that's true. I like what he just said. Better have common interest that informs your foundation. I agree with that.
Yep.
Common interest. That's what it's all about. It's not about friendship. It's about common interest. I agree with Mike.
That's true.
Absolutely.
Soulship, relationship.
See, friendship is an after effect. Friendship is a byproduct. If you're soulfully connected to the person and understand what makes them tick and how to love them, how they need to be loved, the friendship is a byproduct of that. So you don't have to look for a friendship. You don't have to aim for the friendship. And that's the mistake that a lot of people are making. They're trying too hard to become friends. All you have to do is be real and be true. And if you're being real with yourself and real and honest with the other person, the friendship is what's going to blossom out of that. So it's a byproduct.
Yeah. We gonna do this or not is where I'm at. I feel it. Like
Somebody sounds fed up.
I agree with her because so many guys play games nowadays, and I'm sure women do the same thing. But as far as guys, they just don't want to like commit. It's like, oh, let's take it one day at a time. Oh, let's see the flow. It could be 5-10 years, and we're just going with the flow. No, we're not. Stop.
What flow? Look, what flow you on? There's different flows. Your flow is too slow.
Hey, look, that's why it's important to ask them early on what you're looking for. When you ask a person early on exactly what your expectations are, what you're looking for, then you know off the top, we can't roll or we can roll. You know what I'm saying? Right. So you don't have to wait for a man to hold you up for years and years and years and years. If you know where you're going, a man can hold you up. But unfortunately, a lot of women don't know where they're going no more than a man does. So both people get held up in limbo. And so it depends on if you know what you're looking for and you ask the right questions and and the person is going to answer it. The first week of conversation when you meet somebody, I always tell people when I counsel them that sometimes you don't get the right answers because you don't ask the right questions. If you ask the right question, it'll help you kind of figure out specifically what that person is dealing with, and you already know whether to cut them off or not. So yeah.
So Mike, women got more game than men. As a matter of fact, they're still playing when we stop. Y'all force us out of retirement.
It's funny, man.
So how about this? Why are the men blaming the women for what they got to do? Why are you doing it? Why is her fault? And what kind of game? Well, and that's something to get into. Like, what's the game for real? What's the game? Because the end game is, for real, I think people want meaningful relationships, somebody to share, those good times and all that kind of stuff for real. But I think a lot of times, and I'm just speaking from past experience, that a lot of people aren't ready. And I think Mike mentioned that they're not ready to deal with some of the hills and valleys and the things we go through, right? In relationships, it's not going to always be all the way up here. It's not going to always be down here. But here he go, And no, let's go. Henrietta said after 50, be real. And actually, let's go even better than that. Shoot, when you start dating, just be real. Ain't nobody got time for that. So cut it out. Because I'm remembering like past, when back in the day when I was a little younger, it's like I have never been a game player. So it was annoying to me. Like, where do you find the time? Because I got things to do. Okay. So I think Michelle said, are we going to do this or not? What we going to do? Where we at? But let me ask this for men. So Michael, you still on, you married now, but you can still answer the question. What does it mean when, what does a man think when a woman asks, so where do we stand? Do they, because men don't seem to like that question. Or they act like they don't. Are we not saying?
They act like the world is coming to an end when you ask that question, and we just think, oh, it's just a simple question. Like, what's the problem? Why are you making it a big deal? And then the whole argument starts. It's just like, you know what? Maybe I should have asked the question.
But you know why? That happens though. There's a reason why that happens that way, because oftentimes, just like what we're talking about now, a lot of what we're even talking about right now are not really, they're not the root of the issue. These are reactions to issues. And so a lot of times in relationship, we keep always addressing issues and not the root. It's like going to a tree. Keep dealing with the fruit. The fruit is a good representation of how good the tree is, but the real truth of the tree is in the roots of the tree. That's why even during the fall season, when all the leaves fall down and the tree look like it's dead, the life is in the roots. So in a relationship, if a man doesn't know how to respond to that kind of question that you're just talking about, it's because of how it's presented to him. It's also because of how together he is as an individual. See, this is what I'm trying to get people to do. The men got to stop blaming the women, and the women got to stop blaming the men about what they're not doing. It's time for us to take personal responsibility for our own self. The reason why a lot of men are not really ready is because they're not personally ready as an individual. So if you're not ready as an individual, how are you going to be ready as a husband? And if you're not ready as an individual, how are you going to be ready as a wife? And this is something I want to say too, and we can talk about this on the 19th. People don't understand this. Just because you're a wife just because you're a bride don't mean that you are a wife. Just
That's
because
true.
you're a groom don't mean that you're a husband. They're two different type of things. A lot of men are groomers, but they're not husbands. There's a responsibility and a certain kind of protocol to go with that, and vice versa for the woman. Say, hey girl, look at my dress, look at my ring. He put a ring on it, all this fancy stuff. But just because you are a wife, just because you're a bride, don't mean you are a wife. A wife is another level of responsibility. So until we kind of change how the rules to the game, continue to fail and go down because it's about the interest you are together as an individual. If you're a better man, you'll be a better husband. If you're a better woman, you'll be a better wife. If you're a jacked up woman, being married is not going to, it's going to magnify how jacked you really are as a man or a woman. So that's where we really got to go.
So Michelle said,
I don't have time to be a mother or a single.
So I'm single.
Hey, well, that's true. Some people are just fed up. A lot of people are frustrated and fed up.
Well, yeah. Because the dating game, after we left baby shower, I hit her with the very question and she was quiet the rest of the day. The rest is history. I know that's right. And now you quiet. You just enjoying and basking. And that's what I'm so happy for. I'm so happy for them. I am mad that y'all gonna be out of town because y'all will be perfect. But I need everybody who's on here. We got Henrietta, we got Michelle. And y'all know some single guys out there. Tell them to get on the show and let's talk about it. Because look, here's the thing. I'm tripping how people are so quiet because you can go into back in the day, you could go into any bar, a party, little house get together, and men and women got plenty to say. But now that
that's true.
Saying, okay, well, come on out and let's it. No, ain't nobody got nothing to say. He said, yes, you still a fool.
They feel like
you a different kind of fool though, because I'm telling you, married life will change the kind of fool you are. But it's okay, you can hold on to it. But it's different. It's different because another thing I think we talked about last week before we shut it down and make sure y'all know what to do on the 19th is that we talked about how I lost my train of thought, but we talked about how men and women the fact that they communicate differently, but our expectations in what is considered here's a question. What is a good relationship? What makes for a good relationship? Because I think sometimes people come into a relationship with a list and you ain't even met how you come, because you don't already mark them off. If they don't meet these certain expectations, then they ain't no good and you missing out.
That's true. That's a good point. I think, again, that's why I said expectations. Sometimes your own list of expectations, if the man doesn't measure up to what your list is, you think that he's not a good man, but he's a different type of man than what you thought, what you're used to, a different type of woman. So I think we have to be open to see who we're working with, who they really genuinely are. Because sometimes God will send you somebody in your life that doesn't match up to all your other boyfriends, all your other girlfriends, or your last wife. It may be a new type of individual because it's time for you to go to the next level. So maybe that person can help draw that out of you and help, like Obama. When Obama first met Michelle, he wasn't the Obama that we know. He had to be groomed and, he had to learn some things about himself, about love. He had self-esteem issues and racial identity issues. And I'm not saying that Michelle is perfect, but he found the kind of woman who could help nurture the greatness in him. And so she gave birth to him, being a great man. Matter of fact, somebody asked Michelle Obama about her previous boyfriend before Barack Obama. And they asked her, they said, aren't you glad you didn't marry him instead of Barack Obama? She said, no, if I married my last boyfriend, then he would have been the president of the United States of America. In other words, it doesn't make a difference what man it is. As long as I'm all woman, I'm going to push my man to be the best that he can be. So it's not so much about her being lucky. So if you got the right kind of man and woman, it should make you a better person. It's really that simple. So, you have to really check and find out who you're really dealing with. And first of all, you can't choose somebody for yourself if you don't even know who you are. How can you say this is the man for me or the woman for me if you don't know? That's why when a lot of people get married, they finally discover their real self after being married, and then they realize that the person doesn't fit anymore because you chose them prematurely. Prematurely, maybe that's a whole other conversation.
So like Karen Jackson said, we have to learn how to shorten and modify our list. And you think about it, when you were younger, what you wanted is totally different than what you may want when you get older. And you would think like, you know, there's some guys who only wanted small, petite women. They get to a certain age and it's like they ain't having it. Okay, I don't want that. I don't want that.
Right.
So it
Yeah.
changes, and you got to be open to the change.
Mhm.
So I'm excited. I see a whole lot of women. Like I said, I don't know where the men at, and maybe they wait until the last minute. I
Well,
don't
they
know what it
listening. Brothers are listening and watching. They're not posting and texting, but they listening and watching. Believe me.
Well, we need to look, but we need them to do more than just see. Here we go. That
I agree.
y'all need to be doing more than watching. We need y'all to step up because these ladies are ready. I think it was Michelle said, I got 3 single friends. We all have master's degrees, job stability. We will be there looking. Look, Michelle, I definitely want y'all in the house to you know, share your thoughts and everything, but we need some men up in here. The women are representing, even the couples are representing, but we need some of these single men. So if y'all have some friends that you really think have good insight, good energy about how men and women communicate, we have a form right here. I'm gonna put it up. I think Michael's still talking, so let's catch everybody before we tune out. Let's see. Michelle said people discovering themselves during this pandemic, hence the increase in divorce. Absolutely.
That's right. We talked about that. That's right.
And
I mean, it's an increase of divorce, but it's also an increase of marriages. So either way.
Oh, so Mike said, real talk, Michelle, master's degrees, jobs, and stability don't make a great prospect, especially if you are tainted by past relationships. Okay. Maturity, conversation, and foundation are key. Okay, I got you. Yep. I got you. Okay. And it's not one thing that makes a good prospect, actually. You know what I'm saying? Because look, let's go back to Michelle and Obama. He had a hole in the bottom of his car. I ain't gonna lie, right. But you know, back in the day, would have been like, okay, wait a minute. Yep. Yeah, I can see the ground. I can see the ground. Yep. But we gotta know when
that shows you that she had insight.
Right. We gotta know when we gotta stop judging for what, because you look what that turned into. Who would have thought?
Yeah, right.
That the man with a hole in the bottom of his car was going to be the president of the United States. So y'all better stop judging these brothers because they might have something y'all don't know. So
hey, look, hey, Lisa, I was reading something earlier on Facebook, or I was reading a book or something I was reading, and it talked about never judge a person while they're in their season. Because oftentimes we make a judgment on certain people in a certain season, and you don't know who they're going to turn out to be. I mean, even if you look at a lot of biblical figures, you know, you look at Peter. Peter was murdering people. He was a murderer, but God used him as a vessel to speak. You know, there's a lot of people in the Bible who have messed up backgrounds. You know, they were whores, pimps, and all kind of other stuff. You know, I mean, but then, you know, their life turned around. Obama had a hole in his car, had holes in his shoes, but then he ended up being the president of the United States. Tyler Perry was thinking about committing suicide. He was homeless, sleeping on the bench, but now he's a billionaire. Oprah raped and molested and given away by her mom, but now look who Oprah is. So sometimes when you find your mate, you know, you can't just look at them, but you have to look into them, and you have to be able to look into their soul and see who they're destined to be. But most important, not only you see it, but they have to see it themselves and allow you to help mold them and help them to love them correctly so they can grow into who they're supposed to be. Because if you get a guy right now who has a lot of money, you know, car, bad house, he can lose all of that. Then what are you going to do? The marriage is going to go downhill because all you really wanted was material things. But if you love the person for who they genuinely are, you can help push them into their destiny. So that's what it's really all about.
This is good. Look, we are, as long as it got me where I needed to go, I was good, and she was too. And I think Henrietta had a comment. My daughter will be online, and she has 2 undergraduate degrees and her master's with an income that shakes most men. How brothers need to stop. Oh, she mentioned brothers need to stop. So that goes into the men.
Brothers need to step. She said step. Not stop, but step.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's it. Karen said that's deep, Dr. D.
That's true.
And Michelle is still on. She said, I'm too old to raise a man. Michelle, look, before we get out of here, I want to let Michelle know. Michelle, you better be there on September 9th.
Yeah.
7 to 9. We go live on Facebook, YouTube. Y'all can find us on the Dove Style Magazine page on live on Facebook and on our YouTube, Lisa Dove Washington YouTube. But we're going to be looking for you all. Mike said shaking my head. We're going to be looking for y'all to be there. even if you're not a panelist, we want people to join in. Tell your family, your friends. This is going to be good talk, and it's something that everybody can walk away from this with some good information. And at the end of the day, when we get to the end of this, we're going to figure out who runs the world, if anybody. But we need people to represent, okay? Because if the fellas don't show up, then we got the answer. So don't y'all let these women show y'all out.
Hold up. No, Lisa, if the fellas don't show up, then you can't complain about nothing. You got to show up. I mean, you can't be, you in a wild, wild west, you got to show up with your guns. You got to show up with your guns loaded. So show up and express yourself. You know, ladies, express yourself. But if you don't show, it's just like a court case. If you don't show up to court, they throw that out. They throw that case out of court.
Sure do.
So you got to show up to represent yourself. That's what it's all about, you know?
Well, Durik, thank you. What did he say? I told you. The daughter of Eve.
Look, Mike's still talking.
The daughter of Eve. So thank y'all for tuning in. Durik, thank you so much. And we're going to have a good time. So September 19th, 7 to 9. I'm going to put the form up one more time before we say goodbye. So all of you ladies on here, please share this with everybody. But this is the form that we need you all to fill out and get it in ASAP, because the deadline was actually on Monday at noon. So we're allowing everybody to continue to send them in, but final decisions will be made on Friday. So we need to get those in, and the ladies are actually coming in and, you know, share. So continue to share this, post your comments in the replay, because we are still looking, as Shariva said, for questions. Because we setting y'all up. So I can't wait. Thank y'all. Have a good evening. And we will see you next time. Bye.
Peace. God bless.